All right, welcome in. It is Friday. It is time for Total Bases. Tokyo Brandon is rested. He's back. He sounds great. Seems like he got over his cold, which we were talking off air. Nothing worse than being sick during the summer. Nothing worse than being sick. But when it's like 90, 100 out, that is no fun. So TB, we are glad you're back. Welcome back. How did your Thursday go? You're muted. But I know you sound better. I know you sound better because I heard you before we got on the show.
As Billy Crystal on Saturday.
We cannot hear Tokyo Brandon. So I'm going to let Brian start this.
Oh, there you go.
There
go
you
ahead,
go.
Brandon.
Okay. As Billy.
It's fading out.
So we're having a little technical difficulty.
I'll get out and come back.
There you go.
He's getting
well,
out.
now I can hear you.
That's weird. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, I feel much better. Last night I was basically on my butt. I slept for 11 hours and recovered. So it's better to look good than to feel good, as Billy Crystal used to say. So I feel all right. I look all right. So let's go. I got a 5% play out today, ready to rock. Yesterday I went 1-1. Day before that I went 3-1. So I'm plus 124 units on the year, and I passed Hakeem. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, listen, that's Hakeem's been tearing it up too. You and Ski, I think, have distanced yourself for the time being in that 1 and 2 spot. So shout out to both of you. I had a 1 and 2 day yesterday after a 7 and 1 run over a couple days. So still sort of battling my way through August. But yeah, we're always looking for winners. Bryan Leonard, how was your Thursday?
Yeah, I didn't like yesterday's card. And it showed. We had Cincinnati, and I turned on the game, and they were leading going into the 9th inning after being down 4-0. And of course, they blew it. And then we had the Royals game, the first 500. So a couple of 2% plays. Never like to lose anything, but we haven't had anything big in a while. But I do have a 5% play going today. It's up on the site right now. I believe 9 and 3 run on 5%. Now 25 and 11 on 4 and 5%. So it's been a while since I've had something big to sell, but I really like this game today. Obviously, it's a much stronger card today than what we had yesterday.
Well, this makes it easy for you guys. Double play package, Tokyo Brandon 5%er, Bryan Leonard 5%er. I will probably play baseball, but if I have a sort of bigger one tonight, it's likely in the NFL. So there you go. You can get the double play, any two of us. Again, I still do plan to play baseball at some point today. And there's also just great options for the individual capper. We'll get that out of the way right now. Over on the page, the rest of the month, so for the next 10 days, you can get like 6 days for the cost of 3, I think is something they're pushing. And then you get all the sports. NFL preseason for Tokyo Brandon, it would be Asian baseball, whatever any handicapper has for sale. All right, the team that ruined my day yesterday, Bryan Leonard, was the Orioles. They just straight up no-showed that game with the Yankees. In my opinion, it was a golden opportunity for the Orioles to grab one back. They had a chance to get to Garrett Cole early. They couldn't come through. And then Garrett Cole settled in, and Kyle Bradish through batting practice. He was just throwing the ball right down the middle. The Yankees made him pay, and the Orioles got swept. That brings us to tonight. The Orioles back at home, coming off being swept by the Yankees against a really good team in the Rays, but a team that they looked really, really good against the past week and when they took 3 of 4 at the Trop. Rays, Orioles. God, I want to come back with the Orioles today. Please talk me off of that and tell me it's not a good idea.
Well, I just put up my free play on today's card, and I'm with you. I like the Orioles in this one. Freddie Peralta, he just has not had a good season this year. No matter which team he's played for, he's been a disappointment. The Mets paid all that money for him. And he's been bad. He's been really bad on the road. 6.83 ERA on the road this season. He's gone 23 straight starts without having a game score of 60. He's at I believe, 46 on the season. League average is about 50. So he has not even had good starts. I think he got to 60 or 61 or something, one of his early starts in the season, and it's gone all downhill from there. So don't want him going against a Baltimore team here that I think can hit him pretty well. Baltimore's got Rogers going. He's the lefty. And Tampa Bay doesn't hit lefties well. The WRC plus is like 20% worse against lefties against righties. He's a guy who's going to give you some length. He'll give you probably 6 innings. And you mentioned the Baltimore series that they just came off of. When you don't win games, you don't got to use your best relievers. So the bullpen is in really good shape here for Baltimore. I think we get a nice bounce back from them. And, the current line is about 125 with a total of 7.5 to the over. I think that's a bargain with Baltimore here. We've made a lot of money on Tampa this year, but I don't really want them with Freddie Peralta on the mound.
Yeah, I think the Rays, they thought, okay, we can bolster our pitching rotation, bring in a veteran guy. Maybe we'll get the guy that the old Peralta or the one that was the Brewers Peralta. But Tokyo Brandon, it looks like they just got the same guy that's really struggled for the Mets the early part of the year. So with that being said, do you want any part of Peralta, or are you looking at the Orioles here?
Well, I looked at the price and I see that the Orioles are favored, which how do you favor a 61-win team against a 76-win team? You could say, oh, it's the home field advantage, but the Orioles have a losing record at home. So if anything, home is a disadvantage. So then you dive deeper into the numbers and find out that the Orioles bullpen, like Brian pointed out, is excellent and in very good shape. Tampa Bay is kind of famous for having a good bullpen, as they use openers and bullpen games all the time. But their bullpen in current form is not good at all. I got them ranked 22, where I got the Orioles ranked 13. So that's advantage Orioles in the bullpen department. And starting pitcher, I like Trevor Rogers a lot more than Peralta as well. My numbers like him too, about 6 spots higher than Peralta. So the only advantage Tampa Bay has here, according to my numbers, is the hitting. But I think Trevor Rogers neutralizes that advantage. So if anything, it'd be Orioles for me as well. Sorry. Sorry to burst your bubble, Adam.
No, I mean, you guys just basically validated my thought process on this game. Listen, teams get swept all the time. They'll lose a couple games in a row. It would rarely is that going to put me off of, like, if I lost with a team a previous day, rarely am I like put off. If I like them the next day, I'm going to come back with them. This is a scenario where that's going to be the case. So this will be my leg of the parlay. Trevor Rogers, I've talked about him numerous times on this show. I don't know that he is the 1.81 ERA, 0.90 whip guy from last year, which was just all things considered, considering he started last season in Norfolk, not because of rehab. Like, that's where he started the season. Probably was there for a month and a half. Some of it might have been rehab, but like, he was there on the roster. Like, he was not just there on a rehab assignment. To then come up and have that season in the majors is there was zero chance he was ever going to replicate that this year. I mean, that would have just been, it would have been very unlikely that he would replicate that again this year, but he's at least starting to trend in that direction. Remember, he came out this year, looked like 2024 Trevor Rogers at the beginning of the season. But recently he's been a lot better. Now, he had that stretch where he was elite. And now, like, for the past month or so, I would say he's just kind of leveled off to be just like a solid big league starter at this point. Lives in the zone, but gets a lot of swing and miss. He's hard. He's not an easy pitcher to take deep. Like, I can't see the Rays just like really getting so much offense that they've got a big lead here. The interesting thing here for these two just faced. These guys just matched up in the last series. So the Rays just saw Rogers and the Orioles just saw Peralta. Rogers, 6 innings, 2 runs, scattered 7 hits, 6 strikeouts. Peralta, his typical start where he goes 5 innings, 4 2/3, only gave up 2 runs, but 3 walks and only 2 strikeouts. I just think Rogers is a far better option than Peralta at this point. And if you give me the top bullpen arms with the Orioles, I got to think, man, they were so lifeless last night. The at-bats were horrible, but they were also against Garrett Cole. And Garrett Cole is just a better option than Peralta. So if the Orioles can run into a couple, hit the ball at the ballpark, get an early lead, I see them seeing this out. This will be my leg of the parlay. What am I looking at for a money line here, Brian?
It looks to be about 125 right now.
Yeah, and this is one I'm definitely considering for clients. I still think it's possible. Minus 126 before I got on the show. I was kind of hoping some Rays money would creep in. I don't think it's crazy to think that the Rays might get hit as an underdog for some of the stuff Tokyo Brandon was saying. You know, that you haven't really been able to find them in this price range a ton recently. So that's something that I'll be looking at throughout the day. And maybe this will make my client card. We'll see. Speaking of client cards, the boys have 5%ers out, Tokyo Brandon, Bryan Leonard. So check those out. Gregory says, Trig, is this still a baseball show? Absolutely. But we also sell picks. So if I've got something for sale in another sport, you're probably going to hear about it. You can, talk to my bosses about that. That's why we have the show. That's why we're able to do this 6 days a week. All right, let's keep it going. I want to go to, I had a chat question starred and I lost it, but I know what game it was. So I believe it was Ozzy. Okay, here we go. PSA, Mets still 100-1 to make the playoffs. If you watched our show earlier this week, they said it was worth a sprinkle. They did what they had to do in that series, taking 2 of 3 from the Padres. Obviously, a sweep would have been nice, would have been better to get them more in the mix, but they took 2 of 3 from the team that was ahead of them. Again, do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but do I still think it's worth a flyer? Yes. Big series for them this weekend. This one starts on the south tonight on the south side of Chicago. Brian, yesterday we talked about Braves White Sox. You ended up being right. It was the better spot for the Braves. They hand the White Sox a 2-0 loss in that little makeup game. So the White Sox go no day off. Big 3-0 win to salvage one against the Cubs, and then they turn around and give it back yesterday against the Braves. Now they start a series with the Mets. Big series for the White Sox, too. They're still holding some teams off in the AL Central. So White Sox, Mets, kick us off with this one.
Sean Manaea, the lefty, going for the Mets against Sean Burke. We're looking at basically about a 140 favorite for the White Sox, total of 8 to the under, and I'm seeing a couple 7.5s to the over. Manaea, if you remember, back in spring training, his velocity was really down. And I was excited about him. From a bargain standpoint coming into the season, I thought we could make some money on him. And then with his velocity being down, it kind of threw me off. And I said, well, that's putting him on the back burner. But, he's still not a guy who's going to blow you away with his velocity. But he's been very competitive this year. He gets strikeouts. He's a crafty veteran. And he's still a guy that I think we can make money on. We're looking right now, you can get the Mets in the plus 130 range. That's not a bad line here. Burke's been the White Sox best pitcher all season long. He's very good. But right now I'm looking, I talked about this a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where I said I was looking to play on the Mets now that they're out of it and all the pressure's off. I think we all discussed that a little bit. And I think that's not a bad situation here. You've got the National League is better than the American League. We talked about that in the past. We've got a division leader in the White Sox, but is it because the White Sox are good, or is it because none of the other teams in the division are any good? I think it's more of that. The White Sox are the only team right now, I think, that have a positive run differential, but it's not that great. But if I'm playing this one, I'll take the underdog. The White Sox going against the lefty, and let me just get a quick look at how the White Sox have done versus lefties this season. They got a 104 WRC plus, exactly the same as what they have versus righties. So there's no big edge there. But still, if I'm playing, I think this is a nice price on the underdog.
Yeah, this is there's like 3 or 4 games in this exact price range today that I think the dog makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. This is one of them. By the end of the show, if we haven't talked about them, I'll rattle them off. Maybe you parlay them together and maybe they'll all hit. Who knows? But Tokyo Brandon, I will be looking for a spot to fade the White Sox this weekend with this Mets team. I think the Mets today make sense from a number standpoint. I didn't know if this was definitely the matchup I wanted to jump in with because I do like Sean Burke, and I haven't been as big of a Manea guy over the last couple of years. But the White Sox, in my opinion, just can't be this big of a favorite. So I'm with Brian. I like the Mets as well. Mets, White Sox to you.
I guess I'll be devil's advocate then, because I would take the White Sox here because surprisingly, I don't think we've been able to say this since they won the World Series, but the White Sox are 37-25 at home. They're a really good home team. Granted, they don't have any rest today. I like Burke more than I like Mania, though, and I certainly like White Sox bullpen more than the Mets bullpen in current form, although that is pretty close. But I do like the White Sox a little more in that department. Hitting wise, got them ranked 13 where the Mets are ranked 19. So you're right though. I don't really like the price. But the White Sox are not a bad team. They're a 66 win team. They got more wins than the Astros. They got more wins than the Marlins. I mean, they're not a bad team. So I would go with the White Sox here if I had to, but I probably won't play it. Not a lot of conviction.
I want to say one thing about the Mets. Again, this is not all season, but like right now, the Mets might have a top 3 bullpen in Major League Baseball right now. When you consider like Duarte has sort of come out and become this like guy that just doesn't give up anything and goes in and can close games. And now you've got a Senga coming in and has been awesome out of the bullpen. Like those guys were not in those roles earlier in the year. And like I start to look up and down this Mets bullpen, so for example, look at today, for example. Yeah, you're worried about Mania a little bit, but like they don't need their starters at this point to go more than like 4 innings. Go back to Wednesday's game, Robert Stock, he was out there for 4 innings. He wasn't great, but he survived into the 5th. And that bullpen just came in and locked it down. And I think that's what you're going to see from the Mets going forward because, Brian, these guys at the end of the game have just sort of emerged from them. They didn't, they didn't have 8th and 9th inning guys in Senga and Duarte. And I think Nate Lavender's been pretty good. That's a really, really good bullpen. That's one thing where I think the Mets have a huge bullpen advantage here.
Yeah, they don't have the big names. Williams obviously has been hurt, but the bullpen's looking really good. I just wanted to correct myself. I did say the White Sox were the only team in the division with a positive run differential. They're up 47, but the Tigers are up 82. And I've talked about that in the past. Don't write off the Tigers. They're at 82 on the season. The Yankees, the big powerful team out in the East, 89, and the Red Sox at 95. So the Tigers, I mean, obviously they're playing more interdivision games, but still, the Tigers are a team that even though they're 4-6 the last 10, I think that's a team we can make money on. And will the Tigers pass them up? They're only 5.5 games out of first place right now. They just got to climb over Cleveland, who they're tied with, and then Minnesota, who has been at least a major surprise to me. I know you called them out earlier in the season. You liked them better than I did, but yeah, this division is still up for grabs, and nobody seems to want to take it.
Well, Brian, since you brought it up, Tigers Royals. I thought this was a very interesting line. This was one that sort of, I looked at today, and I was somewhat surprised that you could get the Tigers in the price range you could get them in with Troy Melton on the mound. Of course, they are on the road. They are against Noah Cameron, who I guess hats off to Noah Cameron. I thought he was going to be in a big time sophomore slump this year, and it started that way, but he has been fantastic for a lot of the second half. So Royals surprised me yesterday. I didn't think they were going to do much against Gage Jump, and they did. So Tigers, this is a big series for them. They can't afford to drop games to the Royals if they are going to be in the mix in this division. So kick us off, Tigers Royals. How do you see this one?
Yeah, this should be a pretty good pitching matchup. Melton and Cameron the lefty. We're looking at basically a 110 favorite for Detroit, and the total is 8, slightly to the over, maybe 115, 120. It's to me, if I'm looking at these two teams right now in the way they've been playing, I would be interested in the under here. Cameron has outplayed all the metrics, and he had that part early in the season where he just didn't play well, and we thought this is the regression time. But since then, he's been great, and we made good money on him as of late, betting on Kansas City. Melton, I bet against, or actually I bet on Melton last time, and he did not have his good start. I believe it was his last time out. He'd been untouchable before that. So I think we get more to a bounce back out of him here. And I'm not overly enamored with either one of these hitting teams. I know Kansas City's got some guys back from injuries, but they're a better team now offensively than they were, a month ago. But still, I wouldn't consider them as a top tier offense. So if I'm looking at this one, I'm looking for a way to play the under here with Melton and Cameron on mound, whether it's first half of the game or if it's the bullpen. Let me see what the first half on this is. It's we're looking at 4 to the over -120, so you're getting under 4 at +100, or you get under 8 at basically the same kind of price for the whole game. Maybe the whole game is probably a little bit better. So I'm looking towards the under in this game. Want some way to play it.
Tokyo Brandon, Noah Cameron, last time out, complete game, 1-hit shutout against the Angels, 115 pitches. The time before that, against the Dodgers, 101 pitches. Start before that, he went 8 innings against the Twins. And again, these are all really solid outings, 106 pitches. The start before that, also against the Twins, also 8 innings. And you're looking at 97 pitches. Now, he doesn't throw the ball. He's not someone that's out there totally stressing his arm when he throws the ball. He's pretty fluid, and it's so maybe the pitch count doesn't matter as much for him. But I do believe that 115 was a season high. Is that something that you I typically look to fade that. So I'm kind of thinking okay, the bad one's got to be coming. But then again, he's been really, really good. So Tigers, Royals, Cameron, Melton, how do you see this one?
Yeah, kind of agree with that. Usually when a pitcher has an amazing game, he kind of regresses his next start. For example, if he throws a no-hitter or a perfect game or anything like that, usually the start right after that is a little bit of a clunker. But like you pointed out, he's had so many good games in a row. I don't know if we can count on that. I love Melton though. If you hide his name and cover the logo, you would think he's Cy Young. He's 7-1 with a 1.71 ERA. This is one of those pitchers that the books don't favor enough. Actually, they give too much credit to guys like DeGrom and Yamamoto, who obviously they're good pitchers, but I think the books give them there's a tax to bet those pitchers. But Melton's a guy where the books still don't add that tax to him. So you can take advantage of it sometimes. Looking at the bullpens, I've got Detroit ranked 12, where I got Kansas City ranked 21. Now, you already pointed out Cameron generally will throw 100 pitches, which means he'll probably finish 7 innings. The bullpen will not be that big of an issue, perhaps, if they only need 6 outs. So bullpen is kind of a push for me. I like Melton more than I like Cameron, but Kansas City is actually hitting better than Detroit right now. So if anything, I would agree with Brian and I would take it under in this one. If you can get a good number with anything plus, take anything plus as well.
Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, just a couple things. You mentioned the amount of pitches thrown. In the last 3 starts, he's thrown 107 on average, which is more than anybody else in Major League Baseball on today's card. Also, the 115 was more than anybody else last time out. I will say, as much as I like Troy Melton, he has not really been very good against lefties. His strikeout percentage is 17.4, which is really low. Walk percentage against lefties is over 10%. That's my concern here. And if you take a look at the Kansas City offense, Carter Jensen, leadoff batter, is a lefty. Caglianone's a lefty. Vinny Pasquantino is a lefty. Michael Massey is a lefty. Isabel's a lefty, and Isaac Collins is a switch hitter. So he's going to see a good amount of lefties here. So that is my only concern, because it sounded like you were somewhat looking towards the road team in this one. That is a little bit of a concern. It's just he has not done well against lefties.
Yeah, and yesterday I talked about thinking Gage Jump would have a field day against this Royals lineup with a lot of those lefties, and he really didn't. Granted, Bobby Witt did a lot of the damage in that game, but still, Bobby and Salvador Perez, the two right-handed hitters. But yeah, I mean, there's a left-heavy lineup. It's definitely an interesting handicap. I badly want to take the Tigers because when I look at Melton and Cameron side by side, I'm just like, Melton is the better of these two pitchers. Like, I'm confident in saying like a year from now, like Troy Melton's going to be like the clearly better starting pitcher. Like, give them more time to, accumulate results. But man, like, do you fade someone that's on the heater that Noah Cameron has been on the past month? Like, he's clearly, I mean, every start is like 7 innings, nothing, 7 innings, nothing, 8, nothing. Like, so it's
not a
one.
fluke either, because he did it last year as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. He struggled early in the first half of this year, but you're right, Tokyo.
Exactly.
He did it.
It's a carbon copy of last season.
Yeah. Great point. Really good point. Oh, look at Carmine. What a legend he is. Round of beers on me, boys. Go Blue Jays. Carmine Bianco.
Our favorite Canadian.
Listen, we have a lot of Canadians at the company, so we can't,
One of the owners.
Yeah. We appreciate the donation for the charity, Carmine, but it's in Canadian dollars. Can you put that in American dollars? Raise it up a little bit.
Listen,
American dollars.
We will talk Carmine's Blue Jays. They are headed to the Bronx tonight. They've again, Toronto. I talked about this at the trade deadline. We'll leave Carmine up there for a minute. Shout out Carm. Talked about this at the trade deadline, Brian. Like they almost like bought and sold a little bit. I actually think the Blue Jays had probably as creative of a deadline as any team in the league, because they found a way to sell off some veterans, but not make their team worse. Like, I actually think they probably got a little bit better, and they were able to get rid of some of the contracts they wanted to get rid of. Of course, Gossman goes to the Cubs. The man you're going to see on the mound tonight, Spencer Arrighetti, was part of the Dalton Varsho trade. So, and again, I think just the shuffling the deck a little bit was probably what this Blue Jays team needed, who really was not very good the first few months of the year. A team that went to the World Series last year, came within an out, really, of winning the World Series, came out and just wasn't very good the first couple months of the year with a lot of the same guys, obviously. Bo Bichette's in New York, but like for the most part, a very similar team. So I love what the Blue Jays did, and it looks like it's paying off. They've been playing great. Does it continue at Yankee Stadium tonight?
Yeah, they got a little bit younger in the pitching staff, trading away the veteran and bringing in Soriano, Soriano's been a lot better coming here than Gossman has been leaving. Flaherty is listed right now on the Odds Logic page as the opener, and he's the lefty. Then you mentioned what's going on after that, but Schlittler's on the mound for the Yankees, and I always try to bet on him if the line is fair, but I don't know if it's fair here. You're looking at like a 135 favorite, and as much as I like him, the Yankees bats still, I've got concerns about their bats. Toronto's still missing their first baseman, but he should be back soon a little bit. Still waiting on some home runs out of him, but he's still an excellent player. He's just not having a good season. But Toronto's a team that I like. Toronto's team, and but I don't really know if I like the pitching matchup here. So, yeah, if you like to play the underdog, I could see a reason to do it because I think the game is just overpriced a little bit. But I'm not a big fan of the players that are going to be taking them out for Toronto here.
So, Tokyo Brandon, I do believe that this will be Spencer Arrighetti behind an opener. So basically, ever since the trade, he was dealing with a little bit of an injury. So he's just been in rehab at Buffalo. He's made 2 starts for the Bisons. Didn't go particularly deep in either, but both were pretty good. A 1 whip across those 2 starts and an opponent batting average of 143. Into AAA appearances. So I think you're going to get Fluharty as an opener. And I expect probably, I would say like 3 to 4 innings from Arrighetti here before it goes to the Blue Jays bullpen. I too, I know you've been a big Cam Schlittler guy. So I'm ready for you to tell me you like the Yankees here, but I couldn't get behind that price either. I look toward Blue Jays 1.5. But that being said, the Yankees are starting to play the type of baseball where I'm maybe not dying to fade them. I got burned last night doing so. So Jays, Yankees, TB, how do you see this one?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, by the way, get a double play. You can get 2 of us for 3 days, all baseball access. It's a good time to grab it. Go to WagerTalk.com. Brian and I both have 5% plays up. It's a good time to check us out. 3 days, all access, all of our baseball stuff. And Adam puts out 4% bets on MLB almost every day, probably today as well. So go to WagerTalk.com, and on our capper pages, you will see the double play special. So Cam Schlittler had a much better first half of the season than he's having recently. Recently, he's kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. Still an excellent pitcher, though. I've never liked Aaron Getty. I just don't like him. Especially, I don't like the fact that he's coming back, and it's his first start in a while. Kind of bothers me. However, Cam Schlittler is a good pitcher, but if you look at his home road, he has the weirdest home road discrepancy of any pitcher I've seen recently. He's got a 1 ERA on the road and a 3 ERA at home, which is really weird. But no one's really going to argue with a 3 ERA. That's very acceptable in today's game. And I'm seeing the Yankees minus 231. That's crazy. Is that right? 231? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, they do have the better bullpen. They got the 4th ranked bullpen versus the 16th ranked. Add to that, the Toronto doesn't know what to do with their pitching situation, which is why they're putting an opener out. But the Toronto Blue Jays are batting number 7 in MLB in current form, where the Yankees are batting 25. So that's the equalizer here, which would make me say, don't bet the Yankees here. If you can get the plus money for Toronto, it might be not even plus money. I would take a plus 1.5 probably with Toronto, because they have a chance to put a couple runs up on Schlittler. He doesn't have excellent numbers against them. He's got so-so numbers against him. So yeah, I might deal with the plus 1.5, but I haven't yet. Probably won't.
You can get the plus 1.5 at basically minus 110 right now. I do want to point out, you mentioned the bullpens. Toronto's bullpen is in much better shape than the Yankees is. The Yankees have had some tight games lately. They've been winning. Toronto, not the same situation. So the advantage in the bullpen that you'd normally have for the Yankees, I think it's clearly on Toronto in this game.
Yeah, and I'll point one more thing out. For Arrighetti, he had his foot was bothering him. It was like a foot thing. So it wasn't an arm, it wasn't a shoulder, it wasn't anything like that. He had like a foot injury. And then I think, to be honest, I think the Jays sort of used that as like a way to manipulate the roster a little bit, where it's like, okay, well, he's got a foot injury, so like we can put him down in AAA and have him stay for the duration of what they would call a quote unquote rehab assignment, because of course that doesn't take up a roster spot. Give him a couple starts to get acclimated with, probably like how the Blue Jays want to do things. And I think the idea is for him to be up, and as long as he's pitching well, to start to either fill one of the bulk roles or the rotation spots for the Jays. So again, I am with Brian. I don't think the pitching, I don't think the pitching is at a huge disadvantage, other than the fact that obviously you're up against Schlittler, who's an ace. But other than that, I think the Blue Jays have everything lined up the way that they would want for the game here. So I too think that this is an obnoxious price, and it could only be Blue Jays, probably plus the 1.5 is the way I'll look in this one. Brian, I'm going to come to you for your parlay leg, but I'm also going to shout out Grant's dad. He says y'all are going to have to split this 32 ounce. So we appreciate that. None of this will go to our drinking fund. They'll all go to the charities that our home office works with, but we appreciate it just the same. So very much appreciate the contributions to the show. They all go to a great cause. And since you didn't request a game, Brian's going to give you what he's looking at for the parlay right here. Brian, what game are we talking about?
I'm surprised that we've gone this late in the show without talking about Chris Sale and Jacob Mizorowski going up against each other today in a day game. Sale the lefty, Mizrachi the righty. They're playing in Milwaukee. Mizrachi's about a 140, about a 140 favorite with a total of 6, slightly to the over. This is a spike play for me. Anytime I see a total in this range, I actually saw some of the other places, the markets out there right now, they had them at 5.5 at one point. So, anytime I see a game that with a total of 6, yes, these are aces. Yes, these are great pitchers. But when this happens, normally you see both teams know that even though they've got a great pitcher on the mound, they got to work the other guy, and I think that helps. There's been 11 times, according to the host of where I'm at, the last 3 years, there's been 11 times where there's been a total of 6 or less in the regular season, and it's 9-2 to the over. I had some stats that also went to the over between this. From a bullpen standpoint, the bullpens are not in terrible shape here, although Atlanta had to use 2 of their guys. Was it Atlanta? Let me get a quick look here. But it was Milwaukee. I'm sorry. Milwaukee had to use Aaron Ashby for 40 pitches yesterday, Chad Patrick for 44. Even though they had the previous 3 days off, there's no way they're going to bring either one of them back tonight. And so you're going to be missing, especially Ashby, who's been really good all season long, big strikeout guy for them, obviously with a lot of wins. So, I like the over in this game. Over 6, minus 115, and that will be my parlay on this game, and I can't wait to watch it. It should be a great game. And, let's get a winner here. And I do have that 5% going today. I actually gave this out as a 2% to my clients. So this is actually a client play on today's card.
Brian, what was your line again there? Sorry.
6, over 6, minus 115.
The only reason this wasn't the feature game for our show is Major League Baseball dropping the ball, as they often do. This is a standalone game in the 4:00 Eastern window, and it's not on national television, and it's not even on the network. They're putting the MLB network programming on in that time slot. Why take the opportunity to showcase Jacob Mizrachi and Chris Sale? I don't know. Seems like a great way to grow the game, getting that one on national TV, but you'll have to have the package, the MLB package, to find that game. Tokyo Brandon, can you find a winner in that game, Brewers Braves?
MLB has been backwards in their marketing as far back as I can remember. If they even had a decent marketing strategy to young kids, that they could make double their money. It's just unbelievable how dumb they are sometimes. Anyways, baseball fans are going to be baseball fans no matter how dumb MLB is. So this is definitely the game I would want to watch out of any game, because this should be a decent pitching duel. I've got Milwaukee ranked higher than Atlanta in everything right now. Surprisingly, despite all of their talent, Atlanta is ranked 28th in hitting currently out of 30 teams. Doesn't seem right. With all their talent, with Acuna and Olsen and all those guys they got, doesn't seem like they should be ranked that low. I've got the Brewers ranked 4 or better in every single category I rank. They're looking like a dynasty, like a juggernaut here. I don't know if they're actually that good or if they're just hot right now, but they're definitely playing better baseball than Atlanta right now. And as far as the starting pitching, yes, it is excellent. I think Mizrachi will go a little deeper than Sale. And I think Milwaukee's number 3 ranked bullpen will beat Atlanta's number 22 ranked bullpen eventually as the game drags on. And if it goes into extra innings, the bullpen is even more important. So I would take Milwaukee on the money line if I were to play this game.
Yeah, I would too, TB. That's the way I lean. Price was a little bit high for my liking here, but that is how I would lean toward that. Brian, my total, like my run projection comes kind of like lands like right on the 6. So first of all, there's someone in the chat. This is, if you're seeing a 7 in this game, that is a rogue number, or you're probably seeing some like big time plus money attached to it. This is 6 basically everywhere right now. Like if someone was saying it's 7 now, I don't see that. This is 6 pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
It was 6.5 about
120
about
right now.
6
So if
hours
you got
ago.
7, just
Yeah.
just bet it and try to middle of the game.
Yeah, right.
When all you guys were sleeping, I was checking the numbers here in Japan, and it was all 6.5, and now it's down to 6. I highly doubt there's a 7 in a reputable book.
Yeah, it's down to 6. Like I said, my projection is that low. I mean, my run projection for this game is right on that 6. But again, like, it's hard to, the Braves ended up having to play yesterday. That would have normally been a travel day for them. They ended up having to go out and play a 2-0 game that they had to use a couple of relievers. With these like low totals, I mean, yes, theoretically, could you get the game that like Mizorowski has 15 strikeouts and just mows everyone down, and maybe Chris Sale is good? Yeah, it could happen. But like, I'm with Brian in the respect that it's more likely it doesn't happen. And then you get you get an inning where a couple guys get on base, someone runs into one, and suddenly that's 3 or 4 runs. Your room for error on that under becomes very, very small at that point. So yeah, I think the total, I would agree with you. I think I agree with both of you. I like the over and I like the Brewers. So I lean toward both of your opinions here. Go ahead, Brian.
I am at Ralph Michaels' place down here in Daytona, not Dayton, Daytona. And people have been getting into the chat and on YouTube, and they want one of his Yerfies and Nerfies. Now, he's a guy who doesn't get very excited today on the daily basis, but he said he's number 1 now the last 30 days in Major League Baseball, just based on that. So I'm going to let him come in here and give out a free play for everybody, a little bonus down here in Florida, and we'll let him take it from here. And I'll try to get out.
First off, Adam, Brandon, and Bryan, I want to congratulate you. The brand that you've built on this show has been incredible. Your fan base is awesome, and you guys are the driver for the gifts to charity donations that WagerTalk does. The amount of money you guys donate relative to everyone else is incredible. So thank you to everyone. And as a thank you back to all your viewers, I'm going to actually give you my Nerfy client play for today. It's $25 on the site. Don't buy it. And Brian cut me a little short. Not only number 1 in MLB the last 30 days, number 1 this season on profit. I finally caught Bruce Marshall. So just doing Nerfies. I've done nothing but Nerfies. If you find a niche, take advantage and don't feel like you can't bet it. So my client play today, no run first inning, Pittsburgh and the Dodgers -130. Chandler 3-0 and 16-5, no run first inning. While he has a 4.30 ERA on the season, he has a 2.16 ERA his last 3 starts. Yamamoto 16-6, no run first inning, a 2.60 ERA and a 1.8 ERA his last 5 starts. Pittsburgh did score their last game before the break, but that was at home, and they're 6-1, no run first inning after rest. They are also on the road. They have not scored a first inning run in 9 games and only once in 16 games. And the Dodgers 4-1, no run first inning. And in their last 9 home games, they've scored a first inning run only once. My client play, thank you to all the Total Bases fans. Thank you to you 3. Have a great weekend.
Well, thank you to Ralph. Also, shout out to the chat. I've donated $0 to charity. It's all the chat. It's all the chat donations coming in. So we'll thank you guys to the folks in the chat. But it's been great, and really just you guys showing up every day, interacting with us. The likes and subscribes far exceed any other show that we have, and so thank you guys, and keep doing it for us. We very much appreciate it. Tokyo Brandon, I can see where Ralph's going with that. Bubba Chandler, we talked about, he's starting to figure out how to throw the ball straight. He's starting to figure out how to hit the strike zone. And when you throw 100 and you start to hit the zone with regularity, good things happen. I think he's been very solid over the past couple months. ERA is still slightly north of 4, but you start to look at start by start. You'd really have to go back to June to find one where he truly just wasn't very good. Right? That's we're now in the middle of August. So he's been consistent. And man, if you're going to need a guy to go and get you 3 outs to cash a Nerfy bet for Ralph, Yamamoto's got to be on your short list. of guys that, you want starting games in this league. So Pirates, Dodgers, I actually lean toward the dogs slightly here. Maybe the +1.5 with the Pirates. But I can see where Ralph's going with the Nerfy. How do you see this one?
So yeah, Dodgers, yeah, unusual here. They definitely have the better pitcher, but like you guys were alluding to, not exactly that big of an advantage because Chandler's been pitching quite well. And as a matter of fact, actually, let's see. Chandler, I've got him ranked 13 out of 30, which is not bad. He's better than average, where I got Yamamoto ranked 5 of 30. But Pittsburgh is better than the Dodgers at everything else in recent form. They're better at hitting and they're better at bullpen just by a couple points. So what does it mean? I would bet an under in this as well, whether it be under in the first inning or under in the full game. By the way, yes, Ralph is number 1 at MLB. I'm number 1 in 2026 in all sports profit. So I'm pretty happy about that. And my parlay leg is a game we've already covered. So after this game, we can do another one that a super chat requested, which is the Astros game. So that's how I would bet this Dodgers game, though. I would say under in this one.
Yeah, I want to get Brian's thoughts on this one quickly before we move along. The Pirates, back-to-back wins. They're hanging around. This is a bit... They can't just go to Dodger Stadium and get dusted this weekend, though. If they do, they're probably going to be out of the race. So kind of a big game for the Pirates here. My gut says they show up. I don't know if I have the guts to bet it, but I do kind of feel like this is like the Pirates are in this game. Pirates, Dodgers, talk to me about this one.
Yeah, I agree. Chandler on the season now, his game score is 50, which is league average. So he's an average pitcher. But if you take a look at his last 10 starts or so, he had two lesser ones, but every other one has been league average or better. So he's actually pitching better now than he has, as you mentioned earlier. So he's starting to find it. Yamamoto obviously has been terrific for the Dodgers. Still, right now, the Dodgers bats, I'm a little bit concerned if they're not in Colorado. I don't know if they hit quite as well, but yeah, I would either take a look at the under or possibly play maybe Pittsburgh at +1.5. Let me just get a quick look at what that line would be right now. The spread on the game is Pittsburgh +1.5, about -110. So that's not a bad bet either. So I'd be interested in playing Pittsburgh here or an under somehow. But yeah, thanks for stepping in and doing that. And let's move on to another one.
And also your favorite angle, the Dodgers leaving Coors Field, coming out of the altitude to play this game. Always a little bit overrated in that spot.
And the animals are pulling for the dog in this game also.
Dogs are barking. Hey, I said the dogs are going to be barking on this slate. There's a couple others that I think are so I think that's the theme of today. There is quite a few overpriced favorites on the board today. I counted like 6 or 7 that I think are very overvalued favorites. However, and we'll get this one for Alex Rand, this isn't one of them. Maybe it might be a little bit priced up, but I think this is one that's probably justified. The Astros, I don't know what that was last night. 18-3. I was watching some football. I didn't expect to see a football score in that game. But that went off the rails quickly, Tokyo Brandon, for the Astros. They kind of gave up, and they lose the game 18-3. My gut says they could return the favor here against the A's. So A's, Astros for Alex Rand. He likes the dog here, though. So he's looking A's, but I don't know. I think I kind of think the Astros might bounce back. How do you see this one?
Just remember, everyone, I have a 5% play out today. I believe Brian does too. So go to WagerTalk.com and see what is available there. Yeah, after blowing up like that yesterday, I don't expect the A's to come out and score a whole heck of a lot. Although in this one, they do have the better pitcher, in my opinion, and they've got the better hitting. They're ranked 13 out of 30 in recent form, where the Astros, this whole week, they haven't been able to generate a lot of offense. They're ranked really low in offensive production. They have the better bullpen. So it's always hard to back the A's because you know that bullpen's going to come in and choke some runs away. I rather than picking a side here, I think this game's going to go under. That's just how I feel. After yesterday, everyone's worn out. I think this will go under, but it's not really based on a theory. It's not really data based. It's more like a theory that I just don't think there's going to be 2 games in a row where it's like a football score. So give me the under on this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Brian, I'm not dying to like pay that price for the Astros. They've lost 4 or 5. They definitely don't have the same juice that they had coming into the month. But boy, the A's, man, they this is just a bad baseball team right now. They're banged up. They have no pitching. Like, this is kind of, if you're the Astros and you just got bounced 18-3, this is kind of the team you want to see next, in my opinion. So Astros, A's, how do you see this one?
Well, when you score 18 runs and you're probably the worst offense in baseball right now, you don't expect that again. And so I'm in agreement with the under is probably something to look at. But Ginn's been their best starter all season long. He's been pretty consistent. It's only been a couple starts that I don't think he was on. So Wisniewski, is he really deserving to be a starter of this magnitude? I'm going to take the A's bullpen out of it because I don't like their bullpen at all. You can get Ginn in the first 5 and roughly, I see anywhere from 130 to 150 out there. If you can get a 145 or higher, I think the Athletics, the first 5 may be a decent bet because I think it'll be a low scoring game, which means, they're expecting 4.5 runs in the first 5. I would expect probably a little bit less than that, maybe play that under 4.5, but don't like the A's hitters. They're coming off that great day, but I'm not a Wisniewski fan. He shouldn't be in this price range. I don't care what the situation is. So yeah, I think if you play the A's in the first 5, at least you're in the game, and it could be a coin flip that you're getting upwards of plus 150 back on.
Yeah, and I think if on the flip side, if you play the Astros and if you like the Astros side, without a doubt, you want that full game. You want all 9 innings. You want to hope they get Ginn out of there, and you can tee off on what is now the league's worst bullpen, and it's starting to get to the point where it's by some margin. They have consistently headed in the wrong direction to the point where they're now the worst bullpen in the league, and it probably only gets worse with the collection of arms they have in that pen right now. So that was an interesting conversation. Chopak says, thanks, Ralph. Yes, if you missed it, rewind to hear his breakdown, but Ralph gave out one of his client plays on the show for the viewers today. So it's a Friday. We're trying to get it going. He gave out the Nerfy no-run first inning in Pirates Dodgers. So rewind. If you're watching the replay, we'll have the timestamps in there and check out his breakdown on that. Tokyo, Brandon, what are you looking at to close the parlay out here?
Yeah, it's a game we already covered. It's going to be the Tigers-Royals game. I'm going to take the first 5 innings under. I'm seeing it under 4.5 at minus 125, and I'm seeing it under 4 at plus 105. Are those numbers fairly accurate, Brian?
The 4.5s I'm seeing minus 133, 135, 128, 130, 135. So you're going to lay a little bit more juice there. But if you want the under 4, you can get it at plus 100. So it's up to you.
I'll take 4.5 under at minus 135. Then I think that's what I'll take because it's a parlay. We'll do it that way. I just think Cameron and Melton are not going to give up that many runs.
Yeah, I think that's.
I was surprised to see 4.5. I thought it would be 4. So.
Yeah, it looks like you can get 4.5s a lot of places, so we'll take that. And RJ, I'll tell you what, I had this starred, but yeah, Cade Anderson. We'll talk about Cade Anderson tomorrow when he's going to pitch. That game didn't come up today. I promise you, we will talk Mariners Cubbies on tomorrow's show. That's it for today's show. But we have 2 gentlemen to my right and to my left that have 5% plays. So check those out on the site. You can get both of them on the double play package. If you choose Brian and Tokyo Brandon, you'll get a pair of 5% plays today. So check that out. As far as our parlay is concerned, I'm going to go with Orioles on the money line for the full game. Brian is going Braves Brewers happy hour, little happy hour special, 4 p.m. Eastern. Braves Brewers over 6 minus 115. And then Tokyo Brandon is going Tigers Royals first 5 under 4.5 is your 3-teamer. Orioles money line, Braves Brewers over 6. Tigers Royals first 5 under 4.5. that is your parlay for today. And the three of us will be back tomorrow, right before last call, 10 a.m. at the weekend time for more total bases. Good luck to the guys on their 5%ers. We'll see you guys tomorrow.